All you need to know is Jason's dead, right?
Jason belongs in hell. I'm gonna see he gets there.
Does he think I'm a farthead?
Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Sequel. This is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and typically we do it in two parts, but with everything going on still with the SAG strike and the writers trying to figure everything out and almost closing on that deal, and tomorrow is Friday the 13th. Of course, we got to cover our homie Jason Voorhees. We covered now, I think, nine of the sequels, so we're almost covering all of them. They're almost gone, but good thing there's only like one Friday the 13th, two at most in a year, so we still have a few more years of covering left. Before I talk about anything when it comes to Jason, who finally lives, and this starts off my favorite three in a row in the series, I got to introduce you to my partner in the sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how are you?
I'm doing outstanding, Doug. How are you doing?
Spectacular, because you know what? We've talked about this so many times. I think no matter what sequel that we've covered, whether it have been like 7, 8, 4, 5, they all have their greatness about them. But I think what's great about this one, which is amazing, you took it, even though 5, like, it has love after the fact. I know people were pissed because it wasn't actually Jason, but Tommy McLaughlin did a phenomenal job in bringing not even just bringing Jason back to life, making Jason live. He ignited the rest of the franchise because it could have died. Like, if this movie sucked, it was going to be done, I think.
So this used to be one of my favorite Jasons. But I have to tell you, after watching it, I don't know if it holds up as well as I thought it did. And,
okay.
You know, and again, to me, it's a very different kind of Friday the 13th.
Oh,
I mean,
it's
there's
meta.
a lot
it
of
makes
comedy.
Fun of itself. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so like, you know, like it's almost, again, you don't see too many kills. You know, there's a lot of off-screen, couple off-screen kills. So it's not, and Jason is like Commando in this movie. You know, like, you know, in the old Jason, he just basically walks slowly and uses mostly his machete. Here, he's got like a commando belt on, throwing perfect aim dart. Like, so it's like watching it again, it's just like, I think it had a lot of potential. I like the Tommy character. I like what he's trying to do. But then you got the paintball people, which really is just so out of the blue. Like, it just really didn't make sense. So I have to knock it down a notch. It's not as good as I remember it being.
Ooh, where does it go? Like middle of the pack? It's not.
It's in the middle of the pack. It's definitely in the middle of the pack. So, you know, I mean, I still put like 4 is number 1. I think 2 is close to, you know, like right below 4. I don't remember 3. And I mean, I have to really go back. I mean, 1 is still good, but I think I used to have us in the top 3, and I think it's now in the middle of the pack.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean,
it's so meta.
It's like, it's not Jason X, and it's not, you know, Jason Goes to Hell. So I mean, it's not down there, but I would say it's like a close like 4 or 5.
Yeah, this is the one, if you really think about it, like the horror rules that really were invented by Friday the 13th, like they're not broken. There's like no premarital sex and then people dying. No, like
wait.
drugs. Wait, do they do drugs?
There is premarital sex. What are you talking about?
No, that's not. They all have their clothes on. That's not. They're just dry humping.
No, they're not.
He's fully clothed. He's fully clothed.
No, he's not. Yeah, okay. It definitely was. It was definitely premarital sex. But they broke the rule of no nudity in the 80s. So they definitely broke that. But again, I think they broke the rule of Jason. I mean, it's a very different. Not for nothing. Didn't they have a character speak to the camera in this movie also? Which was ridiculous.
The gravedigger, the drunk gravedigger.
Right. So like this movie is, and not only that, like Jason didn't even realize some of the power that he had in this. Like he ripped the guy's arm off and he's holding like, wow, I just did that. Like, you know, so it's such a different vibe to this movie that it's almost spoofy. Like it's almost a spoofy Friday the 13th.
Oh, dude, it's a wink and a nod. Everything. So many things. Like, what do they think? And the cuts, it's almost like Austin Powers, like with the with Dr. Evil when they're all saying the lines and the next line feeds in the next.
Oh.
When he goes, what are these things? What do they think I'm a farthead?
Yeah, well, that I mean, I always question like, what is a farthead? Like, if you're calling someone a farthead, what does that mean? Like,
and how
your
is
head's
a
a fart?
75-year-old drunk like German guy know the word farthead?
Again, there's a lot of questions in this movie. But again, it's just very silly, and they really don't show too many kills, which was surprising. Like, like whatever happens in that house, I have no idea what happens in there, but the amount of blood that was in that room. So, like, I would have liked to seen that scene. Like, what did he do in that? So let's get to it because I'm gonna start sharing.
No, one
much.
thing I have to say is like Tommy, he didn't even want to direct this movie. Somebody approached him because I think before he did like a comedy, he's like, Jason, I thought he was dead. I don't want to do one of those. And then they said you can do what you want. So then he went with and obviously it worked. Like the fans love this movie, and it like ignited the franchise. So we got 7 and 8, and then it kind of went downhill from there. But what Tommy said was he would never make he would never ask a woman to be nude. So he posted a photo not too long ago with him and Darcy DeMoss. And he is on top, and he has his shirt off, and she's on the bottom, like in a Winnebago. So that Winnebago scene's silly too.
Everything is silly. I mean, we should have realized that when we see Horseshack in the first scene. We should have realized what kind of movie this is. I mean, and this is the first and I think only Friday the 13th that they actually have real campers. These are kids. They have kids in this movie. Like, kids go to sleepaway.
You're right. You know what? In 2 and 3...
It's all about the counselors. There's no campers.
Not yet. The campers are coming in a few days. So this one, they were like getting there right when the campers were...
Right.
It's
the first time there's kids in the movie. So... Yeah. All right. And again, I mean, we're not there yet, but I mean, there's a kill where slippers fall off the feet. Like, it's such a silly...
I think that's pretty funny. It was silly, yeah.
It's very silly, so... Okay.
Woo! And the bear, then her bear slippers, like bear claw slippers fall off. But
it's so yeah.
So we cut to again the end of 5. People going to the movie theater. I know obviously there was trailers back then, but it's like a trailer you'd see on a VH. Did they have that on movies back in the day?
What,
like, if
trailers?
you rented a movie, would it show a trailer for a movie that's going to be in the theater, or just other movies on VHS?
That's a good question. I don't know either. Yeah.
But anyway, my point was, like, most of the time when you saw a movie, you sort of saw it blind. So, like, if people saw 5 and they're like, I'm ready for this, and then they go into it and they don't see a trailer, it's like,
no, they had trailers on TV. I'm sure they had trailers on TV.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Commercial trailer. Yeah.
Really? No, of course they had trailers on TV. But, I mean, again, trailers were probably not the same, obviously, what they... Like, today, trailers give away way too much. And, I think back then, they were probably, like, barely a minute long. And just gave it, first of all, I mean, again, figuring what kind of movie this was when they have a James Bond opening, Jason, yes, it's cool, but it's so, it starts off so spoofy, and it's just, all right. So, anyway.
No, but what I was saying is you go to the movie after you see 5, it's like 4 into 5, 5 into 6. You're thinking like, okay, this is how it's going to start, like at this point. And another thing I have to think of, like the timeline jumps. I know when we covered 7, we were like, okay, just think about this. Like he has the chain around his neck attached to the rock. Like,
right.
And she was a little girl when she saw him, like when all that happened. So like the time jumps, because I always forget 4 to 5 or 4 to 6 if they want to wipe 5 out from like.
I think I don't think they're counting 5 in this one.
It's insane. Like really, Tommy, like Corey Feldman's probably like 12, if that, in that movie. Right. So in this movie, like, how old are they trying to say that he is?
I would say
25, 30.
He does, but I would say they're probably, the girls look kind of young. They're probably college. So let's say if Corey Feldman was, say, 12, he's probably about 23, 22 in this movie. Like they're trying to make him look that young.
10-year jump.
The 10-year jump, but so his plan is to go to the cemetery. So again, right off the bat, a couple of questions. One, how does he know where he's buried? Because he's been in a he's been in an asylum for a while.
Oh, well, I guess
So-
I don't know. Maybe they give him a newspaper, or he just
Would-
guessed like,
would
oh,
they-
he's gonna be
would-
buried in that town.
Okay, I wonder if this is true, but do they actually bury mass murderers? Like, who's paying for the tombstone? Who's paying for the coffin? Because I know, like, you know, when family members die, it's super expensive, right? So are they wasting time, you know, really burying, you know, someone? And if my family is in like the plot next to him, I don't want that. I don't want a serial killer next to my family, you know. So I don't think they would actually bury him, but I could be wrong. But I thought they said they burned him, like they made his body to ashes.
That's
They cremated
that's
him.
what the whole thing was in 5.
Right.
That's why
So
they
I
said he
thought they
couldn't have come back.
Correct. So, you know, I think again that's why I think they're skipping 5.
Yeah,
So-
they
but
wanted to
anyway,
forget that
so-
part.
So Tommy's planning. It's let's just say, argument's sake, it's 10 years since Tommy killed him. He's going to the cemetery to make sure he's dead, but he's not there. He's dead. So why? Like, it's been 10 years. Like, if he hasn't come out yet, he's clearly dead. So what is he trying to make sure? You know, like that makes no sense.
You're right. You know what? I didn't even think of that when I was just talking about the time jump, like while watching it. But yeah, he's been there for 10 years. And to
10
go back to what
years.
you were saying, like, could you imagine if you were going to visit like your great grandpa and you're walking up with the flowers and some other people see the direction you're walking, they're like, "Oh, you sick freak! How could you be visiting Jason Voorhees, you loser?" It's like, whoa, we're just next to them.
I would question, like, is Charles Manson or whatever, you know, any serial killers, are they
Gacy?
buried anywhere?
Dahmer,
Are they
is
buried
Dahmer, is Dahmer
I
in like?
doubt it.
Does he have like a
They probably-
beautiful thing or something? I don't think
Beautiful.
so.
They probably threw them in the garbage. they probably just threw a garbage bag and just threw them in the garbage. Because who's paying for it, and who wants, you know, like, no. So the fact that Jason has his own plot and cemetery and tombstone, that's ridiculous to begin with. But again, the fact that how would Tommy know where he is? So, like, who are you calling to say, hey, where is Jason Voorhees buried?
Yeah.
You're going to tell me this is the only cemetery near Crystal Lake?
Well,
So,
they're in the
you know,
middle
like-
of nowhere. This is like very Psycho 2-ish town. There's like nothing around. When he's driving, it's all wooded areas. Like
Yeah, but that's
everything's
every
wooded except the highway.
That's every Jason movie, though. Like, they have to
No, it
travel
is.
through, like, right. But, okay, so you're telling me there's one cemetery in town that they're going to bury him in it? So, like, he guessed it? Like, and again, who do you call to find out? Can you just tell me where Jason Voorhees? I don't think anyone would really give that information out. You know, so.
The thing that Tommy wanted to do, the director, he had an idea for 7 that it would come out that Jason's father is still alive. And that's who paid for the.
See, that would be
thing.
stupid because they already had his mom involved in the first one, and now his dad. I mean, that's kind of stupid. I mean, I don't know.
That would be a comedy movie. The dad is like a normal guy. The dad's like running for mayor of a small town, and you have to explain to all your constituents, like, "Hey, I know that's my boy, but I would never do that."
Oh my gosh.
But back to
ridiculous.
Horseshack, and
Okay.
so when they get there, and you're right, the fact that he has to need to see I have to see the body, and then he starts digging, and the best thing was that was the plan anyway. Horseshack's face when he had a shovel in his hand, and he goes, "Now
Yeah.
start digging it," and he's like, "What?" It's like, what'd you think?
He was afraid the entire time. Why did he
Yeah.
go with him? Okay.
I don't know.
Can we talk about the fact that they dug a hole to take Jason out, but that hole was the perfect shape of a coffin. That hole was what a normal hole looks like when you're first putting a coffin in the hole. It was a
when
perfect
you're using
rectangle.
a machine to do it. Yeah.
You're using a machine, and it's a perfect rectangle. It literally was a perfect. There's no way they're digging that deep, and with just 2 shovels and making it a perfect. You know. So yeah.
It should be like morning. That's how long it would take to dig that deep. Like,
Absolutely.
And last note about the director, he was a huge fan of Frankenstein and of other directors. So you're going to hear throughout this movie, there's like these little things. And I'm sure when I mention them, you'll be like, oh, that makes sense. So the way he comes back, Frankenstein, Karloff's grocery store is where Tommy gets Megan to pick him up later in the movie. And
Interesting.
also Tommy escapes from Carpenter mental hospital. I think there's
Okay.
one more, but it's pretty cool that he did like those little, a lot of little wink and nods at the audience, like throughout this whole
He did.
movie.
He did. All right.
But God,
So okay.
the fact that
yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say just the fact that he's dead. You see him dead.
I was gonna say they open the coffin, right? They see him
there.
dead. Okay. He looks like he's so decomposed. Like he looks like he's dust. Like he's
He looks
really
like Mumra. He looks like if Mumra was dead.
He does, and his clothes are like it looks like he's not even clothes on him. Like it looks like everything deteriorated, like completely. Yet when he does come alive, his clothes look clean and perfect. So I guess when lightning strikes, not only does it make you a zombie, but it also brings your clothes back together.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It brings because he looked great, and I love one shot I love in this movie so much is I think he does look. I don't know. I guess because of the lightning bolt, he looks like burnt. He looks like almost like black, like his head.
He does.
But the zoom in when his eye first opens.
Yeah.
I think the coolest shot because you see like the worms sort of moving around the eyes and stuff.
Yep.
I wish we got it more. Obviously, he wears a mask, so it's like you can't get that.
Yeah.
But he just looks so scary in that instant. And there were just other times. I don't know. Maybe the guy's a big guy who plays him, so it just to me it's not as
so
hulky.
okay. So first of all, how did Tommy rip off that post, that metal post? Like he ripped it off like he was like Thor. He just went over there, ripped it out of the ground. I mean, really. But where did he? So Tommy brought the mask with him.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Why is he bring? And how clean was that mask? Like it was so clean. This is now the 6th movie. You know, I mean, like you're gonna tell me
what's a brand new mask? No, these are all brand new masks.
Every year, Jason gets a new mask every year.
I don't know if he gets a new one every year, but this one's definitely new because in 4 it got split. Remember when he got that?
Yeah, no, of course.
Machete
so then, why did Tommy even bring it?
Oh, I have no idea.
What's the point?
He's
okay.
Stopped at a sporting goods store. Yeah, it makes no sense. Why would you bring the person you just want to make sure they're dead? You're gonna bring him a gift.
Yeah. and why does Jason need it? I mean, if he wakes up as a zombie, that means he's not the Jason of old. It's a new Jason, right? It's a new zombies. He knows to put the mask on.
He knows that. Maybe he looks in the mirror. He's like, yuck. He knows he doesn't look good, and he's like, ugh, what am I going to do to fix this? Okay. And he's just, all right, let me do this.
Okay. All right. If you
it would be weird if they stopped the mask. Could you imagine that? Like they just one movie, like Kiss, when they took the makeup off. Like,
the problem is that he would look too much like the Toxic Avenger.
Yeah. Oh, in this one, he looked like a mix between the Swamp Thing and Toxic Avenger. Yeah. That zoom in, it looked a lot like the Swamp Thing, actually.
That's what I mean. So, like, I think people will get confused. So,
but man, so just the way that happens, and then Horseshack. I love Horseshack. It was like a WWF match because Jason gets out and he's just like looking at Tommy. And then Horseshack comes out of nowhere, barely a ding on the back of his head with the shovel, and then Jason just rips his heart out.
Yeah. He pulls the Temple of Doom, and you know, Jason does a lot of stare downs in this movie too.
Yeah,
why is he waiting? What is he waiting for each time? Because he does it a couple times, and then what are the people doing? Waiting for the at this point, the minute he rips his heart out, he should be hauling ass out of there. Like, what is he waiting around for? But and not for nothing, he seems to hold his own against Jason, who throughout the movie, and Jason has ripped many arms off in this movie. Torn people apart in this movie, ripped out hearts, yet he struggles when it comes to Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy has the edge over him. It's like a boxer, like a no-name boxer that somehow he like has Jason's number, because even like the guy that like Keith Hernandez cop, he has no match, and I thought he was like a bigger dude. His head gets crushed.
Yeah, like no one can hold their own against him. I mean, so
yeah.
I don't know how, again, we're not there yet, but the boat scene, he literally holds his own against Jason.
I know.
It makes no sense, so.
At all. But yeah, so then Horseshack has no heart. Tommy runs away, and then this is when he puts on the mask. It's like, wow, what a way to bring the mask back and bring out back Jason. The way he turns, and he's holding the piece of the fence that was in him. Was
that the earliest there's been a kill in a Jason movie?
Oh, that's a great question.
I think so, right? I think
I
it
feel like
starts
all
off-
the other ones are set up,
right,
kill,
set up,
yeah.
right. So I think this one, I mean, see, the good thing about this movie, and unfortunately you don't see a lot of it, but it does, like, Jason just goes on a rampage, right? He kills so many people unnecessarily. I mean, there's so many people, but like, it's just like one after another. Like, so he does like kill throughout the movie. It's just that you only see half of the kills. But the kills you do see are pretty cool.
Oh yeah, but you know what's funny that you mentioned that? I think in 4 is pretty early because what's his name dies from Police Academy, the nerdy cop.
Oh, you're right.
He gets killed, and the girl gets killed in the morgue pretty quick. And then
you're right. Okay,
this one is pretty quick. 7, Tina kills her dad in the flashback.
Well, that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
And then Jason Takes Manhattan, that boat scene with our pal Tiffany, who played Susie Donaldson. That's pretty early too. But no, you're right. This seems really early. Like this is what in 5 minutes.
The credits didn't even happen yet.
Thumbs up.
So think about it. The credits didn't even happen yet. So again. So that definitely happens very early. So.
And this one, no recap. No recap in the beginning.
Yeah. But and then after this kill, then you see him up there, and then you see the James Bond entrance. How cool. I mean, that
wild.
It was cool, but it was just that just showed you what kind of movie you're in for, coming up. So
the wink and the nod at the audience, but Tommy,
I did like it though.
Oh, it was so cool looking.
Like if every Jason could start off like that, yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Or different movies, like different famous entrances. I don't know what other movies off the top of my head, like him running away, like in Indiana Jones, like
or have a cartoon one like the Pink Panther. Like,
that'd be really good. Oh my god, that'd be awesome. So then Tommy goes, you know what? Who do you go to when there's trouble? You go to the police, right? The police, man, within seconds. They're like, nope. I don't believe you. We'll lock him up.
See. So these police, obviously, again, the kids in this movie or the young adults in this movie don't really know. They know of stories of Jason, but they think it's just lore. They don't think it's real. The cops are.
That's crazy.
Of course.
If a person killed 100 people, yeah.
Again, this is the 6th movie, so you think about how many people he's killed in each movie. So clearly you think they would know about it. But the fact that it hasn't been brought up in 10 years, doesn't it seem odd that someone's coming there right now? And the fact that he knew he was Tommy right off the bat, how did he know he was Tommy? Tommy was a kid the last time who had a shaved head. The last time he saw him, if he ever saw him at all, he might not even met him. So how did he know he was Tommy Jarvis? Because he didn't introduce himself. He just said Tommy.
No, that is true.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, and the fact that there's only 2 cops, there's 2 sheriffs, and then there's the other cops that are from another thing that kind of hate that guy because there's a funny part that's kind of weird in the movie because it comes out of nowhere and you're like, oh, I guess they don't like each other. He's like, hey, is that your daughter? What do you want us to do?
And the 2 cops, one has such a trigger finger. He's waiting to shoot his new gun with the laser scope on it, like throughout the whole movie.
How big is that scope? It looks so silly.
Ridiculous. But he literally, he aims it at, like he's ready to shoot it multiple times at someone, So, I mean, he's pulling a gun out on Tommy, who's a kid himself, a young adult himself, and he pulls it and goes, I'm going to shoot your brains out if you don't leave. Wherever the red dot is, it's going to, whatever.
You bang.
Yeah.
He says, yeah, bang. And how about the sheriff? Doesn't he look like he could be like Tim Curry's brother? It's like a mixture of Tim Curry and Donald Sutherland in the 70s.
Yeah. Definitely Donald Sutherland. I see that.
Curly fro, the mustache. But no, he's like, screw this. You know what? Another thing that I guess when I watch these movies as a kid, I'm just like watching them, not thinking about and not dissecting them like experts we are, like sequel doctors. But the fact that he's like, we took a long time to rebrand this town to not be Crystal Lake. We're Forest Green now. And it's like, that would take a long time to, my town, if they changed the name to I don't know, farthead, whatever. I think every year, somebody man, remember when we used to be called Annandale? It's like, oh, no, we're farthead now. Wouldn't that be the same thing in this town? It seems like everybody's so confused. Even Megan. wouldn't you be like, oh, it's kind of weird that we change our town's name? Like, that's
Of
odd.
course, the kid. It's gonna be part of the history. You're gonna know what your town was before, and she was old enough because clearly she's like Tommy's age, so she wasn't that young that she wouldn't remember it being Crystal Lake. And
Yeah.
why the fact is Crystal Lake still open? And who's sending their kids there? You know, this is a place that, again, this is the 6th movie, so there's been 5 movies at the same camp that it's been multiple murders at the same camp. Don't you think it's time to maybe close the camp down and put something else there? You know, like, and even if they don't, you're a parent, you're going to send your child to a place that's in six other times has multiple people murdered.
Yeah, and even in the one, I think it's in 4, is when they shut down that camp and then they open up the camp next door, and all they do to keep people out is like yellow caution tape. That's it.
But again, who's sending your young kids there? Like, this camp, you know, like when you watch these movies, you know, I'm thinking it's gonna be more like a teenager kind of camp. These were like elementary school kids.
Yeah,
Like, it wasn't even like, you know, like, so like this is a camp where the counselors have been drinking, smoking, and having sex every single movie, and this is the camp that's bringing elementary school.
yeah, and there's only like 5 or 6 kids, and you know what's funny? How about the bus driver? It's like jumping ahead, but since you're talking about the kids, when the bus driver dropped them off, it was almost like they came from another camp that they were terrible at, mean. Is the lady is like, they're all yours, let's go. And they like got the bus out of there.
What? How about the fact is there's only 4 counselors, and that's it for the entire camp.
I know.
There's no director. There's nothing. It's just 4 young counselors.
Well, they could
Ridiculous.
make it. Our the next scene that we're going to talk about is Tony Goldwyn, who friends with like Alex Winter and Tony Spiridakis. They told
Ghost?
some cool stories. Yeah, dude. So just think, a few years after this, he's in Ghost, and then I'm sure in the 90s he was working a lot, but then he's on Scandal, which is like one of the biggest shows, and then he's in one of his most random roles is he plays the doctor in The Sixth Day. He's the one that Arnold tells you should clone yourself so you can go fuck yourself. That's Tony Goldwyn. And then Nancy is director Tommy McLaughlin's wife, and she is from Morristown, New Jersey. She's a Jersey girl, which is pretty cool. And I love this team again. This scene again is like the whole movie. It's poking fun at itself.
Oh,
like.
And she sort of talks to the audience at a point where she goes, I've seen enough horror movies to know if so, you know, and when she says that, so Jason's holding a metal rod in his hand, like a weapon.
I know.
And she thinks it's the mask that's scary, not the fact that he's holding a weapon in his hand.
A weapon, yeah.
Because she goes, you know, I've seen enough horror movies that anyone wearing a mask is not good. But he's holding how about the fact that anyone standing in the middle of the road with a weapon in his hand is not good?
Well, not for nothing. Even if they weren't holding a weapon, anybody standing in the middle of that road would be not good at all, anytime.
No. And he's not a small guy, and you're going to play chicken with him? Like, I mean, really? Like, you know.
Somehow they couldn't go backwards. They could go forwards, but
I did like how Jason went right through the car, right into the tire. Like, that was pretty cool.
As soon as Tony Goldwyn goes, hey, stay cool, and he pulls out a gun.
Which, let me tell you, that was the smallest gun I've ever seen. Like, that looked like a cap gun. It looked like he had a cap gun in his glove compartment, and he takes it out.
One thing I would love to, I don't know if like Dead Meat or any of those things recap like the Friday the 13th movies. I wonder if anybody ever did this series of like the deaths that happen because people get too close. Because this movie has a bunch of them. People get so close, and then that's how they die.
They think they're intimidating. Like, in all these movies, they think that, again, you have this guy, he's got to be at least 6'3", 6'4", right? He's not small, you know. So Jason's a big guy to begin with. He's wearing a hockey mask middle of the night. So it's a middle of the night, and he has a weapon. You think you're going to intimidate this guy? You know, like, and this happens in every movie. Like, they yell at him. Like, they, you know, like, Jason never speaks back, and they just all yell at him, and they try to threaten him. And the fact that this woman is giving him money, like, they're just so clueless in this movie. It's so ridiculous.
I know. But no, you're right. Like even our buddy Michael Benyere, he gets so close with the gun, and then Jason just grab him. And this one, Tony just fires like 1 or 2 shots, and then he gets.
Well, that's all the gun holds.
His kill, his kill's awesome. Getting that, and just the way the body flies, through the air.
He tosses it. He tosses him. Yeah.
One.
Oh yeah. 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 You know, I don't know. You know, and then of course, like every other, you know. And I hate to say it, usually it's the women that fall down when they're running and they just can't get up. Like every time, you know, they're running away and they, you know, it just like, I mean, I don't know. For some reason, people have a hard time when they're, because really Jason doesn't go on like an attack. He usually waits. Like he usually waits for anyone. So you do have time, but somehow I guess the panic takes in and your legs turn into rubber.
Yeah,
you can't move.
I don't know. I've never been chased by a killer, but I can sit there and say like, oh, I wouldn't go upstairs or I wouldn't fall, but I don't know. Maybe your body just goes in such a state of panic.
Let me ask you a question: how many times have you fallen because when you're about to run? Have you ever fallen when you're about to run?
I rarely fall.
Okay, right. No one falls. So like you know the fact that it happens in every movie, someone falls when they're running every time. Every time.
So another fun fact from watching like the Crystal Lake Memories, if you haven't seen it, I'm sure it's free somewhere, but I know it's free on YouTube. But Nancy almost died in the scene. So when they show like that inside of the car shot, when Jason is going to hit that, so she dives to the right. What happened was the glass didn't break where it was supposed to. So if you watch it again, it hits and then goes to the left where she is. And it almost went right through her in the passenger seat. She was laying down, and the metal almost went through her.
So they kept that scene in. So it's the same cut.
Yeah,
that was.
So that's the real cut.
Because it shattered. Like I mean, when he does that, the whole glass shatters like right away.
But if you look when it hits, the thing doesn't shatter in that spot, and it like the whole thing dives to the left, and it goes right into the passenger seat. But yeah,
wow,
pretty wild. And then I don't know when they shot that one, but then she was like, all right, fine. And then she was in the mud. So I don't know if that happened first and she almost died. And then she was like, that's fine. Hook me up on the tubes. I'll lay in the mud for my American Express card. Like, Tommy, put that in the movie. And he's like, you know what? I know people watch movies and shout lines. He's like, forever, people are going to see that movie and say, don't leave home without it. And he's like, still to this day at screenings, people say that, which is,
that's awesome.
He knew it.
Yeah. Yeah. Jeez.
Man. And then again, now we're back to the police station. I know we mentioned this earlier, but again, Megan, her dad's the sheriff. Not like if your dad was the butcher or the postman. Not like you would know about Jason because of that. But Dad has, I guess, more inside information. But she's like, "What do you mean, Jason? Dad? What's he talking about?"
She has a screw loose. She has a complete screw loose. You know, she doesn't know Tommy for anything, and for one, she trusts Tommy over her father throughout the whole movie. She literally, like, Tommy's there. Her father says Tommy's there because, like, he's crazy or he's thinking, like, and then even later on, she said, like, you know, he's like, they find people that are murdered. And she's, like, still, like, hanging around Tommy. Like,
I know.
She, like, is so clueless. I mean, it's ridiculous. And, yeah, I mean, but from what I've heard, like, a lot of times, like, children of cops usually are pretty wild because they just can't take the strictness. So they usually kind of, you know, go out. So, I mean, she's playing that role hard.
And no mom, so she's raised by just a dad.
Right.
She does it. If your mother were here, like a lot of those lines, and they go back.
I mean, she pulled a gun on a fellow cop. I mean,
well, he pulled a gun on her. He pulled a gun on her, which is crazy.
Well, yeah, like I said, I think a little, but like, for one, did he really think she's gonna shoot him? Like, I mean, you're a cop. I mean, you know, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, like, he knew she wasn't going to shoot, but he acted like she would have. Like, it's just so stupid.
Why did he survive? Of all the cops, he didn't show up. He was at the RV scene.
Okay, but meanwhile, he's still locked in because there's only 2 cops in the town, and the other cop is dead.
That's what happened when he got locked up. Yeah.
So he's still locked in there.
He's still there right now. He's just bones.
That would be funny if they showed, like, in part 7, just like, you know, if they're and the cop is still in the jail.
Or they just let him out, like,
the key.
10 years later, they finally let him out. They're like, "Oh my God, you're still here. We were using another station." Oh my god. And then we get the gravedigger guy who's pretty funny, and like the wink and the nod when he looks right at the camera and he goes, "Who would go ahead and unbury Jason for entertainment?" While he looks at the camera.
And you're gonna tell me he took all that dirt himself, this old guy who's drunk to begin with, and he
Can't even
was able
walk.
to do that himself. He can't even
Yeah.
walk. And is he homeless? So like,
Oh,
like
dude.
who's hiring him to like work the graveyard, and then he's homeless. He's walking through the woods like he has no.
If I had to walk home through the woods, I would not have that job, like at all.
No. Well, I mean, it's like the morgue people, right? In movies, like the people that work at a cemetery and morgues are always creepy, weird people.
They are.
Like it's never the normal,
Texcob, lipstick, horse.
Oh,
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, but he's literally like he's walking. So like, and we know, there's a long time of like nothing when they're driving. So he must be homeless and live in the woods.
Yeah.
And who owns Crystal Lake?
Oh, the camp?
Was
That's
that-
a great question. There should have been something in that.
Has anyone brought that? Like, it was like never like it's just never thought like there's never like I said, there's usually never a director or whatever. It's always the kids and everything else. And like, I just want to know like who's hiring these kids, and like who's Crystal Lake that is still open for 7. So I'm just curious who owns Crystal Lake, and they never discuss it.
Yeah, I know, because even in 4, which one is it? No, maybe it's 2. There's like that guy who's like I think it isn't 2. He's like the handsome guy that I think, what's her name? Is it Amy Steele in the second one? Who's like,
wait, so that's how you describe him, the handsome guy?
He's like he looks like Jefferson Darcy in Revenge of the Nerds. Like that's the look that he has. And he is telling the camp story, but he's not an owner of it. But you're right. You know what, dude? That'd be so I always said for the 13th movie, they should bring back all those survivors, which they could still do. And maybe an opening scene, and then Jason gets rid of them. Well, I don't know. But that'd be a good one. Some rich guy buys the camp and says, I want to bring it back. Because no, they never talked about whoever owned it.
They never do.
Who keeps reopening it? The red tape that they would have to like a lawyer fees.
But doesn't what's her name live on the was it Tina? No. Who's the one that had the powers?
Tina. No, they lived on the other side of the lake, which again, when I watched this movie, there's no house on the other side of the lake.
Okay.
At all.
All right.
So
I thought maybe like because she did have a house there. I thought maybe her family owned it or whatever. But
you think her drunk dad that drowned, that she murdered, owned the camp?
Maybe the Voorhees. Maybe it's their camp.
Maybe.
Mr. Voorhees will come in one of these days.
Oh my God, yes. And he can, reopen the camp. Yeah, all the kids you want to bring them. Yeah. The more risque girls, the better. That's what my boy likes. But no, you're right. There should be something. That's an interesting thing. I wonder if anybody listening at Sequels On, let us know if you ever heard in the series of like who actually owns it.
Egan knows.
Hook us up. So now we get to the paintballers. The one guy, big time, the heavyset guy, big time character actor in the 80s. 80s, 90s, every show, Family Ties.
But don't tell me that this is so not out of place. Like it really makes no sense whatsoever. Like it really doesn't. For one, you're gonna have a paintball I guess course right next to the camp, and there's no one there's no people that own the course there. It's only the people that work together. Yeah. So are they just play? So they just randomly went to the woods on their own to play?
I guess that's what we did when we were kids. We used to go in the
okay, but they're not kids, and half of them look like they've never played before. I mean, the first two guys,
they're like executives. They're like executives because that was the whole joke about the woman being like the executive. They're like, oh, how are we gonna shoot? We can't shoot her. Yeah.
So they never played, and then you do have the Tackleberry there. You have the one guy who thinks he's Tackleberry, and then you have the one guy that keeps falling every time he turns around. He's falling on the ground. Like you have Sweet Chuck running around and Tackleberry.
Yes. How about when the Sweet Chuck guy, when he drops the gun? Oh. He drops the gun and he's searching for it like he lost his glasses. He has his glasses on, but he's doing
and he's searching in the same spot for the whole 30 seconds he's looking.
Yeah.
He's just looking in front of him like it's how And okay. So they're playing in the woods that it looks like it's like fall time, right? There's no leaves on these trees. How is Jason going around killing people that they can't see? And if I'm going to play paintball, you're going to play when you really are right in the open wherever you go. Like there really were no leaves on the trees.
That's true.
Okay.
I did like the funny joke of like when you're out of the game, like when she comes out of nowhere and shoots those two guys, and they have to wear the dead
bandanas.
Yeah. I thought that was so cool. On the triple, the way Jason gets his machete.
Yeah,
like you said, how silly it is. He doesn't know his own strength that he ripped the guy's arm off.
How about the fact that he climbed a tree? I mean, he climbed the tree, and he was high enough that they didn't see him. So he had to be pretty high. And again, there's no leaves, so you don't see a guy, a 6'3" guy with a mask, standing in a tree, and he happened to jump down. So one, I would like to see him climb. Like I want to see Jason climb. I wish I showed that. But yeah, I mean, it's just so like he's a zombie now. Like he knows to climb. Like he does things in this movie probably better than he does in any of the other movies. Yet he's like he was a monster before, but he's a real monster now.
He is
like
a real
the
monster,
fact that he does way more in this movie. I mean, he plays hide and seek in this movie. He doesn't act like a zombie. He acts like a serial killer in this movie.
He's very Michael Myers-esque in this movie. He peeps. He peeps in the other one.
He does.
In 8, definitely he peeps a lot. But in this one, he does. Especially when he is playing hide and seek and messing with Sissy, that is really a Michael Myers-ish thing.
Yeah.
Messing with somebody.
Oh, it's ridiculous. So. Yeah, no, I mean, again, I think he does. He's not really a zombie. I mean, I know he's a zombie, but the fact that he knows to put a belt on that has other weapons on there, he uses it and has perfect aim when he throws something, like perfect aim. Like again, he's Commando. He's literally Commando in this movie. Like
in part 3 when he shoots the bow and arrow perfectly through Bernie Lomax's girlfriend's eye.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, I've never really thought about it. Like, how does he have perfect aim in everything? He's a monster. He's a monster,
but he's a monster who lives at a summer camp, I guess, when no one's there.
So he practices in the wintertime.
Yeah.
So in the wintertime, he practices.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he can make like great birdhouses. He does all the macaroni pictures, all the great crafts, and then also the bow and arrow. He's that good at doing that.
And not for nothing. So he is a monster, and he's a zombie in this one, but he still looks like he's in incredible shape. He hasn't eaten in 20 years.
Yeah.
Like you would think he would start, like he'd be running around like a skinny zombie. Like, at least zombies eat people. Like he doesn't eat any people. He just kills them. So like, how is he still in perfect condition? Like he's still in like great shape.
He works out. Well, obviously he was dead. You know what's fun? Another thing I just thought of that makes zero sense. So, all right, Tommy's, when he's reading like that satanic ritual book, he reads that in order to get rid of like a zombie or whatever, they have to be like put in their original death place, right? So Jason died in the water. He drowned as a kid, 1957. So the thing that makes zero sense to me is that he didn't really drown, right? That was the whole lore. They never said they had a funeral for a 8-year-old boy. Like Mrs. Voorhees never said that. So, because he bleeds in 2, 3, and 4. So he has blood. So that makes no sense because he would be a zombie the whole time if he died in 57, right?
Well, I mean, not for nothing. He did die. I mean, he's a monster, so he did die at some point. So he should technically be a zombie from day one. You're right. He should.
Yeah.
So, but how about the fact that Tommy's looking through that book about, how to deal with a zombie and acting like this is something normal. I mean, the fact that there's a book out there that actually has that, and the fact that he's like, looking, oh, okay, this is how you kill a zombie. Like, really? So this is like common to them? Like they're not, he doesn't seem the slightest surprised that this guy has been dead for 10 years.
I have to wrap a chain around his neck and then get a giant rock and take that on a boat.
Oh my
and
gosh!
That's how I'm gonna get rid of him. He seems
because
so
it's easy to
calm and
find
cool.
a giant chain. Like, I mean, where do you find a giant chain like that? And
well,
I mean,
Megan said, "I'll get you everything. You let me go with you. I'll get you everything you need."
It also looked like it was like midnight. Like, I mean, it was like pretty dark out. So, like, I don't know what store's open that has chains. And you're going to tell me the sales clerk is not going to question? You have a shovel, chains, and dynamite, or whatever you had, like gasoline. Like, you're not going to raise questions? Like, what do you need that stuff for, sir?
Hey,
It's
what are you up
12
to
o'clock at
tonight? Man, just hanging out with the boys.
Yeah, just normal.
Yeah. She likes to get freaky in the bedroom. Like,
well, he probably threw like a bag of Skittles on there just to say, throw her off. Like, yeah, and Skittles.
And then the guy's like, you know what? For a second, I thought you were a crazy serial killer.
But then I saw the Skittles, and I'm like, all right, yeah, okay.
Oh my god! But yeah. So from there, we get the great beheading. It's so good, man. The triple beheading, and then from there we see the guy Roy that they're looking for, who might be the last person alive. He shows up, and they play like burr, burr. They play like sort of like
it's silly.
Like
it's such silly music.
Stripe. It sounds like Stripe.
Yeah, I know.
Almost.
It did.
And he shoots.
It was
him
just
once,
so silly.
And Jason is like, "What is this?" He looks down at it like, "What the hell is this?" And then the guy goes, "Oh," and he throws the gun. Not like it would hurt anymore to Jason. He survives everything, but there's more than one paintball in there.
It seems that Jason, like, this is all new to Jason, because the way he acts in this movie, it's like he's never like done any of this before. I mean, I guess now that he's a zombie, he just has no memory of his past. Which then why would he care to go to Crystal Lake then?
That's true. He's drawn there.
I mean, because he really when he's in the woods, like, again, he when he rips the arm off, he's like looking like, wow, like then he's looking like, he got shot and he's like looking around, like he just seems like he's not his normal self, where he just goes on a rampage. Like, so he should, if he doesn't have memory of killing and all that stuff, he shouldn't have memory of Crystal Lake.
You're right. He shouldn't have his he has that attraction, or maybe he finally said, I'm going to appreciate life and all these kills, and I'm going to really soak him in, because you never know when your last kill happened. But yeah, when he looks at the arm and holds it up and like looks at the dangly coming out from it and the blood, it's pretty funny.
Yeah. All right.
No, man. And Roy's death was, he just said, oh my God. But how did he die? I forget. The nerdy guy, did he die or just
I know.
ran
I'm
away?
trying to think. Did he run away? No, Jason wouldn't have let him run away. I don't remember, but no, he killed everybody. He's not. Jason does not let anyone run away.
So do you think he went to the police station and killed that cop that was in the jail cell really quick, and then went back to the camp?
Ridiculous. So,
but yeah. Oh no, he did die. He was dismembered by Jason. I don't know why. I just watched.
Well, I guess if I had to take a guess, that would probably be my top choice. That would happen to him.
I don't think Jason sent him on vacation. Yeah, he dismembered him. I'm trying to think. Did he throw the machete in his back while he was running? It was something. I forget.
Was it the dart one, or is that later on?
No, the dart was the cop on the dock, which that one's really cool.
Oh, ridiculous.
He's just screaming, "Oh my God! Oh my God!"
Yeah.
But this is where Tommy thinks, you know what? I'm gonna get ran out of town. He's listening, and he just goes right to the cemetery. He tries.
No. So so after he was at the police station, they let him go and they were following him.
Yeah.
Don't forget. So So he's like, I mean, did he think he was gonna lose the cops? Because he does it like so quickly, and the cops are right on his tail. Like, so he really didn't have enough time to go there. But yeah.
Why would you pretend to leave, go onto the highway that they bring him
they
to,
go back.
Yeah.
Well, they do pull like a first blood on him, where they drive him at the end of town, drop him off, and tell him, all right, don't come back. And they come back like they trust that he's not going to come back.
I know, the same thing. Yeah. No. But no, then they get to the grave, and I love how the sheriff just obviously believes that he's crazy, but also doesn't want to believe Jason's back, because when they get to the grave and he's like, he's there, look at him, and he's like, yeah, so you're telling me, I guess he got cold overnight and he pulled the dirt over him.
That was pretty funny.
Oh my god! And the guy drank it. The gravedigger, as soon as he was like, why'd you cover the body? He wasn't in there. There was no one in there." And he like looked like he didn't want to say anything because he doesn't want to lose his job. Then he takes like 2 quick swigs.
I'm gonna guess that he doesn't even work there. Like he probably doesn't even work there. He just does it for fun.
What are your hobbies?
Who's paying him?
I'm a
Who's paying him?
gravedigger. I play pinochle.
First of all, it's like the smallest cemetery ever. There's like 3 rows.
Yeah.
You know, towards time he runs there. So I mean, so for 3 rows, you really need a gravedigger.
Yeah.
And it didn't look like there was any room for any other graves anyway. So what is the gravedigger really doing there? I think he probably just digs up people and then puts them back in there like he's doing something.
Yeah, and he doesn't. He gets paid like minimal.
Again, he doesn't have a
guy that owns it.
I don't think anyone owns it. It's just in the woods. It's like because again, he doesn't even have a house. So like I don't think he's getting paid on anything. Although I don't know how he has money to buy the the whiskey, whatever.
That looks like it looks like he drinks rubbing alcohol with like Coke mixed in it.
Oh,
it
it's
was
so
like
old
such
school.
a weird brown color. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
and the swigs, and he looked like it was painful when he was drinking.
He looks he looks exactly the type that you would think they would have that kind of like flask. And he just looks like, he's such a drunk. And again, I think he's homeless. I don't think he, and I really don't think he works there. I think he just does it, on the side.
But his line, man, just hearing a guy that age and when he goes, dig him
Farthead?
up, what does he think? I'm a farthead?
I laugh. I just, again, you mentioned fart, you're going to laugh. Like, I just don't think I've ever heard anyone be called a farthead before. Like, that's almost like a Pee Wee Herman kind of like line, like you farthead, but like, I wonder what they were thinking. Like, he's got to have some kind of name to use what the writers are thinking of. So what can we use? How about farthead? Like, I just don't know. Like, it just, or, they probably had someone's kid in the meeting with them. And like, they were going through all these names and the kid goes, how about farthead?
Yeah.
Farthead.
We can't say shithead. We don't want to use that word in the movie. What else can we use? Timmy, what do you think? Farthead. Yeah.
So we have a movie that's rated R that has kills, beheadings, and we don't know if it's sex or dry humping, but we can't use a curse word for a name. Like, I don't know.
But the cut makes it so much funnier. He says farthead. He asks the question, "What does he think of a farthead?" And then it's all the girl campers. Yeah. Oh my god!
And yeah, I mean, these campers are just ridiculous. The
they
outfits.
don't know what they're doing at all.
Okay.
Like they don't. Oh, the campers.
Okay.
Oh, I think you meant the counselors. Campers.
Oh, I'm talking about the counselors first of all. Yeah, I mean, the fact that you're wearing suspenders with sweatpants, was that a thing in the 80s? She's wearing suspenders with sweatpants. Like, I've never heard of that before. What?
Yeah, and they 80s.
Oh.
Everything was on the table in the 80s. That wearing like extra clothes, like more clothes than you need was a trend.
And again, we discussed that there's only 4 of them. I wrote down what I thought was in the boxes and groceries that they brought in the house. Did you notice?
That. No,
oh, you didn't notice what they brought in?
That's 2 episodes in a row. We got the Psycho 2 with the cereal. What would they have?
Okay, so again, there's no adults there. There's no chef there. We don't see anyone else but those 4 counselors. So this is what they brought for the summer camp for the kids, I guess. All right. So they had, let me see. So they had 2 barrels or like containers of oatmeal. They had a lot of fresh vegetables that weren't in any bag. So it's like the fresh vegetables that you would get at a farm. So somehow they have a basket of fresh vegetables. They had a big thing of toilet paper. They had heavy duty garbage bags. They had a box of napkins.
Okay.
They had ketchup, mustard, and mayo. And a very big bag of popcorn that was already popped.
So that's
what they brought for the camp for the summer.
That's like the cheapest camp ever. You send your kid and it's like
and again,
God.
like so they're running the food also. Besides being counselors, they're also running the food.
There should be like a cook there because
of course there should be a cook
there was
there.
only supposed to be 2 more the two people were Nancy and Tony Goldwyn. So like they were the two other people. So you're
and you know they weren't cooks. They were probably just overseeing everything.
Oh
so,
yeah.
And again, your parents, you don't do research saying, all right, this is what this is what the camp, has involved. There's a cook here for their lunch, their meals. Like this is what they're eating. This is what no, they're literally their brochure's got to be very small. We got 4 counselors, and honestly, for the 4 counselors, they have 1 male counselor for all the boys.
Yeah,
and who clearly had no clue what he's doing because he tells some random story, and then you have 3 girl counselors for the same number of boys.
When these kids got home and they got picked up after this whole ordeal, I hope the kids were like, "Why don't you love me?" Because you sent me to the worst camp where a murderer has come back every 10-ish years.
And they met the murderer that came in because he came in
dude,
with
which awesome.
But if you think about it, twice, Jason's never seen kids, right? He was a kid himself when he died, and then he's never been around long enough to see the campers.
Yeah. Do you think he looks at them and he is still
sees
on
himself
that mindset? Yeah,
of course he is. He still has the mindset of the kid. That's why he didn't kill him, because if otherwise, that would have been a great murder spree for him. He had 60 people in there he could have killed.
Yeah.
But he literally, he looked like he was King Kong, seeing a woman for the first time because he was staring at that girl like, oh, wow, you're a child. Because he didn't raise his machete at all. He was he was nice.
He was gentle with her.
Maybe this whole time in all these movies, he just wants to join the campers and be one of them.
That's why he's practicing all those activities in the winter.
That's why.
So when they ask him to play, he can be good,
And they'll pick him first. We get Jason.
Potato sack races. He practices.
I don't potato sack. I don't think he'd be good. He's too tall.
Egg on a spoon. He practices every single one. Oh my god. But how about the next scene again? This is what is different about this one versus the other ones. A lot of rando people die in it. All the other movies, I feel like they're all central to the situation or to the camp or to someone. How about the couple in the woods? Like when the gravedigger's walking.
What, you mean the ones having a nighttime picnic? Who does that?
Ugh.
Who, again, in these movies, there's always nighttime swimming, nighttime picnic. That's not a thing. No one does that. You're going to tell me, I mean, I myself wouldn't be nervous, but a lot of girls are going to be out there. They're going to hear a howl hoot. They're going to hear an animal rustling. You think they're going to be calm sitting in the woods? I wouldn't want to sit in the woods.
And on Friday the 13th, in a town that has the lore of it.
Yeah. Yeah, but wait, I guess. Wait, so this okay. If this, I just thought about this right now. So if the murders happen every Friday the 13th, how about close the camp that one day?
Yeah, it's Friday the 13th. We're gonna shut everything down. Everybody go visit a relative, and next
Jason comes out of his whole It's Friday. It's Saturday the 14th. I can't. All right, forget it. He goes back. It goes away. He missed it.
Tony Phil. He's like, oh shit. Hey guys, 6 more weeks of no killings. He didn't see any campers. Maybe that's what would really help him out. But man.
Oh man, yeah. But yeah, the nighttime picnic is so ridiculous.
But that's ridiculous. But what's even more ridiculous is it seems like this guy's proposing just to get laid because her line was basically like, "Oh, you just brought me out here to do." He's like, "What? You think I would do this just for that?" And then I'm like, "Did you know how crazy this guy was?" He's like, "I want to just sleep with her. I'm gonna give her a ring. And I don't know if I'm gonna go through with the marriage, but she thinks we're engaged now."
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe he waited 2 years. He's like, "All right, you know what? Clearly, she has to wait till be engaged, so I have to at least try."
Yeah. And then she's down for it. He's like, "Oh no, I can't believe you think I would do that." And she's like, "Oh no." And then she lays down. Then they start hooking up. And then this is when one of the coolest kills, I think, underrated kill in the franchise, is when the guy's drinking his bottle, and he's looking around. He hears sounds. A rock
Oh,
even
yeah.
rolls down a hill. He's done, and he goes whoop, throws it in the air, and then no sound.
Well, does he throw it? Wait, does he throw it though? I think Jason just grabs it out of his hand.
No,
Because there's no sound.
No,
Well, he makes that motion, but you don't hear. He was right behind him.
I know, but
Yeah.
that's the. No, I know, but it's like he
I don't know
caught
if
it.
he-
That was the whole thing.
I know. I was questioning, like, did he catch it or did he just grab it out of his hand as he was throwing it because he was that close? You know.
Yeah, no, I'm sure the guy didn't feel someone grab it like that close, but maybe it was in there for a little bit.
He
That's why I
couldn't
was-
hear him. He couldn't hear this monster walk towards him. I wouldn't be surprised that, again, I mean, and I find it almost impossible if someone's throwing something like that right over their head, he's going to catch it right away.
Yeah,
He has the
fact that
reflexes.
Your thrill of hearing a bottle break, which it probably wouldn't break because it's landing on dirt and
Well, it
leaves
could land
on
on
the
a
ground.
rock. I mean, it could land on a rock.
Could.
Okay, but still, you're again. Jason has incredible reflexes to be able to catch it,
Yeah,
and he's a zombie.
and then breaks it in like just that look of
yeah.
him staring at the guy, the gravedigger, cracking in his hand. It's great.
So if you're in the woods and you see Jason, how long does it take you to turn around and haul ass?
Not
I feel
even
these people.
half a second.
Yeah, I wouldn't need to see him crushing anything or moving. The second I see him in the corner of my eye, I'm out of there. Like there's no waiting. There should be no waiting at all, and everybody waits. Everybody waits to see what he's going to do next.
I've run if I'm alone, even on the streets. As a kid, adult, I see something that's a little sketchy.
Oh,
I'm
of
not
course.
waiting around. I'm running.
Of course. Now, he clearly doesn't really like that girl. Is he leaving the girl there and just running?
Oh my
like,
god!
if he had the chance, or he goes, or I mean, because
he does come back for her to go to the bike, but man, their death is another cool one in the franchise. Like another great one. They're like, we have to go, and they see him, and they're like, we have to go tell the sheriff. And then by the time they can even finish that sentence, machete through both of them.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he kills 3 paintballers with 1 machete slice and 2 people on the bike. So he gets kills out of the way pretty quickly. Like, why wait like one at a time? He just, but that was also the cheesiest motorcycle I've ever seen. If that was like a motorcycle.
It was a really tiny one, yeah.
It was a tiny, he's supposed to impress her by driving in the middle of the woods, right next to a murdering camp on a cheesy motorcycle, on a moped.
Yeah.
What?
Ooh, so romantic. and another thing that even further supports what we're saying, how like the distance between the movies is they're playing a board game or they're playing a card game called Camp Blood. So like it's not like that thing would be like invented like a year after like murders had happened. It'd be like something like has to be passed along, the game would change and things like that. The fact that they're playing that, I'm just like, and you're there. Like they're making jokes about it. Let's play Camp Blood. And the one girl gets uneasy about it, like Sissy's joking around about it, but it's like, if you're uneasy over hearing the card game, why would you work at this camp?
Yeah, but you think about again, according to them, it's an urban legend, right? So with an urban legend, you're gonna make up a game, because you don't think it's so. Like that's why the one girl is not phased at all. I think the other girl is just completely creeped out from the minute she got there. So I mean, like you said, why are you even working there, knowing that this is replaced? Because they're old enough again to know that it used to be called Crystal Lake. So they're not hiding it from them. It
seems that way. No, it really does seem that way. But the way they talk about it, it's almost like they heard it from someone else or heard it from like an older sibling or somebody who's like, oh yeah, Crystal Lake. Like the way they say it, it's not like this was super recent, which is oh man. So did any of the Jason things get you upset? Because I think it's still funny, but it is silly. When the Winnebagos are rocking, don't come a knocking, and he looks at it like a dog with the tilted head. Like,
I know. It's, again, he does things like a human. Like he should be more monster than he's ever been. Yet he has so many human qualities in this movie. Like, again, the fact that he's smart enough to unplug the generator, get into the Winnebago, and hide in the bathroom. Like that's how smart he is. He's a zombie. He's a monster. He wouldn't figure any of that out. So like they made him too smart in this movie.
Too smart.
They really did. And he waited there for the perfect timing. Like he knew, you know.
He knew
I
that
thought
he would blast the music, and you're right, Teenage Frankenstein. And he like knew, like, oh, this guy's gonna blast it, drive terribly.
Which I think would have been funny if, as Jason's walking towards him, like he starts like stumbling backwards, sideways as he's driving. Like instead of walking like his normal straight, you know, like let him like fall down a few times. Like let him like it's the way he was driving. I think, you know, add a little bit more to him. But no, he had perfect balance.
The way Darcy was falling around and stuff was like, I'm like, oh my God, that's really her. I'm like, she can make. I don't know if they were really driving or if she was initiating that on her own. But even before that, the fact that she is like still to this day, smoke show. The fact that she's like, oh, it's only like 7 more minutes or something like that, or like she's so like, it's almost like she was like showgirlish, like in the pool, like that scene in the pool, like she's just wild, and he looks like he's just like he was done like 3 minutes ago, like he was.
So yeah, I mean, and what's his name? Court? What kind of name is Court?
I don't know. I guess Courtney.
But he has that typical
Courtney's
look, like the Johnny Depp of the 80s look. Like, you know, he's that typical 80s, like ridiculous. Yeah. Again, who's hiring this guy?
Come on, just 7 more minutes. And he's like, ugh. And then Jason cuts the power and she goes, did you, I don't know if she said, did you come? She's like, did you make it?
No, she didn't say
like
that.
One of those old, yeah, she said like one of those old timey phrases, like, did you make it? Or something.
Yeah. He looked like he was exhausted. Like he looked, you know, so, and then she gives out that it's her father's Winnebago.
Her douche stepdad. That for some reason she has to like bring it back right then, even though they're like, oh, I don't want to be around because the wire was cut. Like, I don't know who did it, but I want to be around for it. And it was like her douche stepdad. But his driving, she could have died from that. The way she was going forward,
100%, and he wasn't even paying attention to her. Like he thought she was having fun alone. Like that's the whole time. He's like, oh, it sounds like you're having a great time back there.
Oh well, no, not even that. It went from, oh yeah, save something for me, like that. She was like going to town on herself,
right?
To a minute later, hey, are you taking a dump? I guess because he heard the struggling when Jason put her in there and then pushed her face to the side.
So does he think? Well, that was a cool kill. But does he think a girl is going to make that loud noises going to the bathroom, like in front of him?
Or the other. Would you be shaking the whole thing?
No, but he said he's taking a dump. Like, he really thinks that girl's going to be, like, making... Listen, if this is, like... It seemed like it was kind of early on their dating. Like, I don't know if, like, it was, like, a, you know... You're going to tell me a girl's grunting like that, going to the bathroom, right? I'm going to have questions on a second date. If that's it. Because... I mean, because usually people hold back. You know, you don't fart in the beginning of a dating. You know, you have to wait a while before you let one go and see how it goes. You know, but if they're going to be doing that early on and she's grunting that loud and she's holding back, can you imagine when she's not holding back?
Oh, yeah. She's like, I don't like to hide. I like to be myself. I'm going to rip it right at the first date. I don't hold farts in. But man, that whole thing, Teenage Frankenstein, their Alice Cooper song, which is so cool that he was cranking that.
Yeah.
But this whole scene, which I have the clip of, because we're going to watch the whole thing. Or if you're listening, you can listen to it, but you're watching it on YouTube.
So somehow she can't stand up, but Jason walks normal to this.
Well, I think at that point is when the guy figures it out and he's already on the road.
No, wait, I want to rock.
Oh.
He is flying in that thing.
Oh, dude. It's scary how big those things are.
Yeah.
This is great.
Oh, my God, dude. But just to, because we kind of recapped a lot of this, just like fast forward when, oh, dude. Yeah. So at least we have this.
So why is he struggling? Why is he struggling with her, though?
I don't know. It's almost like he's telling her, like, shh.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that's a cool kill. But he was struggling. Like, I mean, usually he doesn't play around. He kills right away.
Yeah. He was toying with her. Maybe he liked her. He had the hots for her. So he wanted to, like, hold her for a few minutes longer. But I always love these kills in the franchise is when you see him like this.
You're going to tell me this kid doesn't see him walking towards him at all? Like in the mirror? And he
His
knows
little
to go.
utility belt?
Okay, he knows to go to his belt to get a weapon out. Like, I mean, it's so ridiculous.
Tim the Toolman Taylor, man. Oh, so good. Dude, the flip of the... And they did that in the first take, which
Oh, really?
obviously you would have to. And like when you're making a movie that's sort of a semi-low budget, you can't be breaking to it. But this shot...
Wait, is his shirt tucked in?
Oh, wait.
So he tucked his shirt in? Look at it. His shirt's tucked in. So he has a belt on and his shirt's tucked in. So he has to look nice for the whole movie. I didn't realize that.
That's really... He's proper.
What?
Zombie Jason has standards.
And again, he was not wearing those clothes when he was in the grave. He had it looked like he was a burnt corpse, with maggots all over the place, and his clothes are all shredded. He looks like he just walked out of the Gap.
Yeah, now
He
he's
had a
well
collar
put
shirt
together.
on, and he has khakis on.
Oh my god, yeah, he's like a mechanic. He's like very
Oh my
Michael
God.
Myers. He's wearing like the Michael Myers getup, sort of.
Again,
jumper.
Michael Myers finds the same jumpsuit size every time he goes to. Ridiculous.
He finds the perfect mechanic every time. And then, so now the sheriffs find the bodies of Tony Goldwyn and Nancy. So you get like that little bit of eeriness. And Tommy, this is when he's at Karloff's general store.
Yep.
And he calls Megan, who's in this craziness. She's not at the camp. She's just hanging out at the police station. Tommy's not even there. And she's balancing in a chair.
Why is she waiting in the police station?
I don't know. That makes no sense.
Right?
There's no
like
reason
her
for her to
friends
be
are
there.
all at the camp. They're all partying and having a good time. Why is she hanging out at the police station? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, weird.
Maybe she didn't want to
And
play
this-
cards. Maybe she didn't, because there's only 2 other people that were
I
hanging
know.
out.
Well, there's 3, but Cole or whatever
Well,
his name
Court
is.
is with Dar. Yeah,
Court.
you're right. Yeah.
But okay, so there's actually 4. I mean, was she one of the counselors too?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't realize there were 5. There were 4 girl counselors. I thought it was only 3.
No, it's only.
Okay.
It is only
Yeah, yeah.
3. It's Megan,
Yeah.
Sissy,
No.
and the other girl.
There's the one at the jail. What's her name?
Megan, the
Okay.
sheriff's daughter. Yeah.
They are the 2 that are playing cards, and then you have the
Mhm.
one that's in the Winnebago.
She wasn't a counselor.
That's what I said. I just said that. Was she a counselor?
Oh,
You
yeah,
said,
yeah. No, she wasn't. I thought you meant Megan. No.
No,
'Cause they
no,
make a
okay.
line. They're like, "Oh, Court's with some girl that he met."
Okay,
So,
that's okay. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Which again, okay, all right, it's fine.
He
So
met some
yeah,
rando.
so the rest of this movie, I mean, and the rest of the scene when she's gets the call from Tommy and she's like, "I'll help you. I'll get all the stuff you need." She's a maniac.
Oh,
Like, she's a
crazy.
She's absolutely crazy, and
Yeah.
which I think Tommy sort of likes, because there's a couple scenes in this part that he really likes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
But at the same time, though, like first of all, she drives like a stunt driver. I mean, how long was she driving backwards for on the highway when the cops are chasing her?
She was a pro. She
Sure
was an
was.
absolute pro. And then just before, so she picks him up and she goes, "What are you doing?" Because he just wanted the car.
Yep.
And then she was like, "Nope, it's mine. Only I drive it." She's like, "What are you, an idiot? Park it behind the store so nobody could see it." And then at the same time, they just found obviously like the counselors that were killed, Tony Goldwyn and Nancy, and then they find the paintballers. And I love the line that the sheriff with the red laser, he goes, "Yeah, he picked the perfect day to do this. Friday the 13th." He says it.
They had to throw it out there, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I think there was a part when he goes over there. He goes, "Did they find anything else?" And it's literally an arm right in front of his feet. When they like the body parts were sitting right in front of him, and he's like, "Did you find anything else?" Like he didn't even see it.
Yeah.
And then the fact that Tommy wanted the car, so he wanted to just leave the girl there and take off and leave her in the middle of nowhere. That was
I
his
guess,
plan.
yeah. Yeah, you know what? That makes zero. Yeah, why would you think that? Why would you think she would
Okay.
be into that? Oh yeah, sure. Leave me while you
Wait.
say a killer's on the loose.
But
You
not
leave me.
only that, right? Not why would she be into that, but so he knows there's a killer loose, so he's gonna leave her in the middle of nowhere where the killer can get her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jason
All right.
could walk past Karloff's. Like that isn't that far away. It's not like it's because they have to like circumvent everything. Because at this point is when they have to go get the stuff, and they do pick it up, and then that's when they get chased. But in between of that, we get Sissy's death, and I didn't Google it because I didn't want my computer history to be ruined. But Sissy's reading Men at Play magazine, and it says nude special, but the guy on it looked like the Tiger King. He had blonde hair. He looked like an old man, but she was into it. She was thumbing through it, just enjoying her times.
Listen, Ron Jeremy, we'll bring him up again. I mean, look at the guy look like. So, and women like it. So, but yeah, I mean, the fact that we have Jason at the camp at this point, right? He's at the camp at this point, or no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right.
Because he plays.
You have all these kids there. Don't like. Wouldn't a counselor sleep near the kids? Like, I feel like their cabin is so far away from the kids.
It is, yeah. And the fact that they didn't realize this is how bad of counselors they are. They didn't realize that their door was open. Like the door to their cabin opens multiple times.
Yeah. Like
later in the movie too, and like no like realization of it. And they just like, oh, it's probably Court playing a prank. That's the sound that's outside. The little tiny sound.
That's something in a lot of these movies. They think it's a prank. Like when a killer is doing something or setting them up, they always think that one of their friends is playing a prank. Was that big in the 80s? Like people just pranking people all the time?
Pranking, I guess. But you would think it would be like 90s, like Jackass and
like shows Jackass like that, didn't really do pranks. They kind of put themselves in their own pranks.
Oh yes, they did. Yeah, they pranked themselves. But the fact she goes, I'm gonna pour lemon light soda on their head, and she looks out the window. And
so
she's like, huh?
Did lemon like? She could have just said, "I'm going to pour something on his head." Like, was that like a? I know she didn't say a brand, but like, that's supposed to be like a get back to someone. Like, I'm going to pour lemon soda, whatever on them. Like, it's so stupid.
People, soda stinks. Get poured on like Coke, but lemon lime, it's the worst.
Oh my gosh! And I mean, again, this part is so silly. Like, her shoes, her slippers, are left behind. Like,
but he was there because you heard it hit something. So
of course.
So for the rest of this movie, it'd be funny if they had one joke if like somebody walked into a room and they're like, it smells like lemon lime.
or when he killed her, you see like the lemon lime falling off his mask, like sliding off his mask, and it's all.
He's wiping it. He's cleaning it in the mirror or something. But yeah, he just like flings her out. The bear and I love that her roommate, the girl there. Oh, I guess she walked out.
Yeah.
I guess she left.
Yeah. And then Jason's carrying her, right? He carries her.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh dude. Because he snaps her neck all the way off.
Yeah.
And I love that they're walking.
No, he takes her head off. He takes the header off, right?
That's what I mean. He snaps it all the way around. It comes off, and then when he's carrying it past the dorms, and the little girl that they use like 7 times in the movie, which is crazy. I wonder if that was an idea for a sequel too. The 7th one, because they use that girl so many times. Like she saw Jason, she carried the machete, she saw him carry Sissy's body with just the head gone.
Yep.
But nothing.
But why was Jason carrying the body? Where is he bringing it to?
Well, he likes to prop him up because I don't know where he hid that one, but he did somehow put the head in the sheriff's car when he had no time to do that later in the movie at all.
True.
Which is kind of silly, but it was a cool image to watch him walk along the windows.
Yeah. And had that one girl see, I think her name was Nancy or something. Yeah.
Oh, was her name Nancy? Because that would have been a throwback to. Oh no, you know what? You're right. It is Nancy because somebody said to Tommy that, it's so great that you did a homage to Nightmare on Elm Street for Nancy, the main Heather Langenkamp's character.
You know what? This little girl had nightmares, couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
That is
but it's not.
There you go.
But he said it. I think it was his sister's name or something. Like he chose like his sister's name.
I don't know about that. I mean, again, the only girl in the entire camp, her name is Nancy. She's the only one that couldn't sleep. The only one that was having nightmares, and her name is Nancy. I don't think so. I think that's a Rip Torn moment.
Rip Torn. So I guess Men in Play magazine can lead to death. But so dude, and then the chase scene. You're right, dude. He gets a face full of it.
Well, but again, she's driving backwards though for a while.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, so like I get nervous driving backwards at the end of my street. You know, if I can't go that long. She's flying backwards on a highway, you know, and the cops, you know, are chasing her. And again, like, then she spins out and she's like, it's crazy. And at this point, they're already chasing her. Why does she still have to have his head in her lap?
Like, she likes it.
Like, well, she does, and so does he. But I mean, you know, like, first of all, they're not going to see him. I mean, she's clearly like ahead of them, so she's not going to see who it is. So, but it was just like she's still trying to hide him. You know,
yeah, but
ridiculous.
that Keith Hernandez cop, I guess he doesn't like the sheriff. The sheriff, I feel his last name is like a horror homage. I forgot who it was. But anyway, the fact that he's like, I'm going to call on the license plate. It's a red Camaro license plate. Brand. The guy's like,
orange.
That's orange.
Orange.
It's my
Camaro.
daughter's car. And he's like, well, what do you want us to do? And he's like, well, definitely don't shoot her. Is that what he said? It was something crazy like that.
Well, again, they are trigger happy police officers over there.
They are.
So, I mean, they were just waiting to use the guns. So,
yeah.
That's a good warning.
So I think what was his name? Sheriff. No, that's not his name. No, they have
Sheriff
the
Myers.
I gotta look it up. Wait, because whoever did this thing on Google put like the wrong actors' photos of some of the people, and I was like, wait, that's not that guy. What the hell is his name? All right. All right, I'll pull it up momentarily. But yeah, so how about not even that? How about when he knows it's his daughter, she spins out when she gets caught. She does like a little stunt, like kind of like 90-degree turn, and he pumps a shotgun and points it at his own daughter.
Yeah. And
That's
again, she
wild.
stops. Like, why at this point? She already knows her father's gonna be mad at her. I mean, clearly she knows the cops are out. Why would she just stop for her father? I mean, to me, at this point, you might as well keep going. I mean, you know, you're gonna get in trouble once you stop. So you might, you know, he already knows. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Can it get any worse? Like, is your father gonna get any more mad if you turn around and keep going?
Yeah, and is he gonna kill you?
And not for nothing, he looks like he has absolutely no control over his daughter. Like, he probably doesn't punish her at all, and if he does, she sneaks out the window and takes the car anyway, so it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah. And so his name is Sheriff Garris, and I believe he named him after Mick Garris, the writer who wrote like a bunch of horror stuff. He wrote Hocus Pocus, directed a bunch of stuff too, but I think
I like how you say a bunch of horror and then you mention Hocus Pocus.
Now I'm trying to think. He wrote a bunch of Stephen King stuff.
Okay.
He didn't write The Shining. I think he directed The Shining series, but yeah, it must be that because Mick was in his like 30s around that time. Forgot his first project, but I think that's what it was that he did. He wrote some really good stuff. He wrote Critters 2, right. But there's definitely something before that. Obviously, it must have been good enough that he was like, oh, you know what? Let me make sure to use his name. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe not.
All right.
It could fit. Just a random name, but yeah. So the fact that he pointed at.
By the way, there was a big blooper in this part when they go back to the police station.
Oh, what was that?
He turns to Tommy and he said, "You just sit tight, Jason."
Oh, I don't think it was a blooper. I think because he thinks he's saying you're pretending to be Jason.
So
that scene before.
Wait. So he thinks that Tommy, who's telling him that Jason's alive, killing people, actually went out to kill people to show him that Jason's alive?
Oh, yeah. He thinks he's crazy and he wants this to be a true thing. Because it seems like nobody believes in this town. Even though 10, 15 years earlier, they brought Jason's body into a morgue and he murdered people in the morgue to get back to the camp.
But again, Tommy was clearly like he went there telling him what happened. He went all out of his way to show him the cemetery, and because they're not believing those two things, he said, "You know what? The only way this kid's gonna try to get us to believe it is just chop up some people so their arms are around and we can find them, and now we're gonna believe him." Like that's the story that they think is what Tommy did
in their head, because when they saw the paintballers, that's when they said,
"Okay,
oh,
then they're the
really
worst cops ever, by far." I mean, we've seen a lot of bad cops in all these movies. These guys are the worst.
I think the worst ever is Halloween 5. I think those guys are the worst because they had like the clown music that accompanied them every time.
All right.
But no, it is silly for them to believe that. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You really think? And then this is when Megan's like, when did the killings happen?
Yep.
And then they told him when. And it was like, he was with me the whole time. And he goes, lock him up. Still, even
So
though
even I was going to say even
murder.
yeah. So dumb.
Not good.
Okay.
Yeah. But
in reality, Tommy saved that sheriff's life because he probably would have gotten a call. We need some backup, which backup is only one cop, but we need some backup, and he probably would have been dead too. So
it is crazy. The backup, we saw so many other cops in other scenes, but the only cops that made it were Keith Hernandez and the tall guy that gets killed. That's it, right? The guy in the dock,
I think so.
And Keith Hernandez.
Although the father has the best kill.
Oh, one of the best. Some great kills
to me that kill should be like in a top 10. The kill on the father by far.
Bending backwards.
Which by the way, the daughter again seems more concerned about Tommy, who she just met a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
Than her father. Like she acts like they've been dating for years. She literally just met him.
It's been less than 12 hours.
Less than a day. Not a day, not even a half a day. It's like literally like because she's only seen him for the car chase, the beginning when he was in jail, the car chase, and then thrown in jail now. So if you break that up, she's only seen him 3 hours, if that.
Oh yeah.
And she's acting like she's like in love with this guy already. Like it's just so ridiculous. Her friends are dead. Her father's dead. Yet really no remorse. But Tommy, she was like really concerned with. So stupid.
Are you okay, Tommy? Let me dive into the water where a killer is, and I'll leave these kids by themselves.
Oh my gosh!
Like she doesn't know. Jason could have like snuck out of the water and went and go to like slaughter those kids. No, it's fine.
Unbelievable.
But man, so that little girl Nancy, like this shot's really cool too. The POV of the machete, the bloody machete going into the room, and then it's the fact that the girl. I'm not saying I could. There must be blood as a smell. Like I obviously smell my own blood. Like when I almost lost my foot on the beach in that accident, like there was a lot of blood, but I almost passed out. So I don't remember what it smelled like.
Wait a second. Wait, so you think not the fact that Jason's been buried for 10 years, the smell that he probably you're talking about the little blood that's on the machete. That should have woke everybody up.
There was a lot of no, not waking people up. I'm saying the counselor goes, "Oh, must be court playing a prank." I'm like, no.
But how about the BO on Jason? Like this guy has been buried with maggots for 10 years. Like he's got a smell.
Yeah. Oh my god, it smells like decomposing body and
lemon
lime soda.
That would have been funny. Like, you know what? I smell lemon lime soda. Which must be Courtney must be getting a drink or whatever it is.
Sissy, is that you? We know you always drink lemon lime soda. Like, what a weird. Oh my god, what a weird thing. But the fact that little girl, she's wearing a teddy bear, like the teddy bear shirt, and she's carrying that machete, like bloody machete. Just what a creepy image to see a kid like. Just carrying something like that.
Just to have this many young kids on set for a movie like this, like I wonder, like I mean, really, like it's the Friday the 13th. There's a lot of disgusting kills, and they had to be somewhat scared. I mean, doing some of these scenes because they were all really young. The boys weren't so much. I mean, because the boys were having conversations like, "Oh, I guess we're gonna die now" or something like. It was something I forget what they said. Yeah.
What were you gonna be when you grow up?
That was pretty. That was pretty funny.
That was really funny.
What were you gonna be?
So how about with Jason? So Jason is like he's my favorite, and he's like I think most people's favorite slashers. But he's very irresponsible here because he like lost his machete. Like that's the first thing I thought of. I'm like, he dropped his machete like when he's carrying Sissy. He like carried her, and then he goes, "Oh shit, I forgot it!" Like you forget your wallet and keys, and he's like, "Oh, let me go back." And the little girl.
But unlike other movies, he has the commando belt, so he does have other weapons on him. So I don't think he's as concerned. Maybe
it was dirty. He's like, "Yuck! I don't want to reuse a weapon that has blood on it. I need to use a new one or something." It was so silly that they found that. Now, if the little girl walked in with like an arm or something like that, then it's like, okay, that's. But why would he leave his machete? That's silly.
Well, maybe he just couldn't hold the girl and the machete at the same time, and because she, maybe she had, a little heavier than he thought, so he had to hold her with two arms, and he had said, "All right, I'll put the machete down now. I'll come back for it after."
Yeah. The little girl came out and grabbed it.
Why was the little girl outside at middle of night anyway?
Well, she saw him carrying Sissy.
So you're gonna go out there? A little girl's
why
gonna go
she
out
would
there
do
when
it.
she's a monster of a man carrying a headless woman, and you know what? let me go out there and see what's going on for a 5-year-old. I don't think so.
Yeah. But then the counselor brings her back, tucks her into bed and says, "Hey, when I get scared, close my eyes, say a prayer." When she's leaving, another cool shot it's kind of similar to the shot that we saw earlier, but when you see her leaving and Jason's trailing her in the windows, oh my God. There's really great shots in this movie, like the creepiest of Jason when he's in the background, whether it be like in the Winnebago, like the court kill, or this one when he's just like tracking her and then following her back to the room.
Very silent. He's in the woods with tons of leaves on the ground. We've seen tons of leaves all over, and he's silent throughout the whole movie. No one hears him.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the machete's gone. So the big thing that's crazy is she just left the machete on the ground. Because she walked in, she looks for it. It's just blood there, and the phones are still out, and then the door again swung open on its own. She kind of thinks it's like a prank again. Because she like kind of like,
how does a counselor not like lock the door?
Yeah, like, or why is there not just a normal lock on it? Are those just like old school, like in my shed, like those kind of doors that you have to like latch it like every time? It could be.
Well, if you think about it, how old is this camp? I mean, it's been around for a long time. I mean,
57, he died. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So I doubt it's been updated. It still looks like a cheesy camp, to send your children to. So yeah.
But then he just pops through that door, man. And then again, this is one of the ones you don't see the kill. But I think I like the combination of those in these movies because you just see like you see the splatter on the window.
The amount of blood in this room. We've seen him kill so many times. There's not a lot of blood. There might be dripping blood from a arm or the head, but it's not. This was a massacre of like multiple people in one room. Like that's the amount of blood. I mean, and the fact that it's all on all the walls. Like, what kind of kill did he do in here?
It's like because after the blood splatter, he throws her through the window, and then afterwards, did he hold her up and just wipe her on the walls? Because that's all that can happen,
Yeah, I don't know, like what kind, and I don't think like it would be necessary. It would take one break of the head, neck, or like a slash to kill this woman. But the amount of blood that's in there is like literally like he took like parts of the body and just started sprinkling, the arms against the wall and trying to do art out of it because that's what it looked like. It was like perfectly on every wall. Like there wasn't a wall that didn't have massive blood. It was ridiculous.
When the sheriff opens the door, I was like mind blown. I'm like, one person
I was too.
Died in this
I was
room.
too. And that's the one kill we don't see. And this is the amount of blood
we
that's
just
out
see the blood, and then we see her get thrown through the window, and then whatever he does afterwards. But I love that he said he was doing art on the walls. It's a perfect segue to the weirdest scene. Again, why is Megan still allowed to be at the police station? Like her dad knows. Like when he goes to the Winnebago scene, he like lets her stay there. But that whole plan of him going, well, I think your art's stupid. It's like, well, you're
so
stupid.
Dumb.
And they start arguing.
How dumb is that cop? Because they were talking normal 2 seconds ago.
I know.
And then they're going to argue. And then like she gets up in his face. Like it's just so stupid.
Making out. And then he pulls the gun on her. And then he starts wrestling with Tommy. And then she takes the gun.
And again, did he really think she's going to murder him? Like,
I know.
Like that takes it to a whole nother level. Like, yes, she's holding a gun against him, but like, you really gonna murder me right now? Like, and he's like listening to everything they have to say.
Yeah, no, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, why would you ever think like cops have to know? And like, even if it was just a kid stealing your gun, but it's like the other cop's kid.
Correct.
Like you
correct.
really believe he should try to approach her. Like, what is she gonna do? That would have been better, right? If he goes to approach her, then she fires at the ceiling,
and
it's
it like
okay.
shoots his leg or something like that by accident. Yeah, fine.
Oh,
right. Yeah. But and not that this came into play in this movie, but this happens all the time. Why do they leave the key not in reach, but close enough that if he tied his clothes together to swing it over there, he could actually get the key to get himself out? Like, why not? Like, they always do that. They always leave the key in the room to be able to get out somehow. Like, if I'm locking someone up that I don't want to bother me at all, I'm taking the key with me. Like, why even like leave it there? Like, it's like, yeah, it makes no sense.
Especially the fact that like Sheriff Garris, when he left, he was like, "Don't let him out." Oh, he's like, "Okay, sir." Yeah, he should have just like, "Give me the keys," so he can't get out. Like, it's not possible. Like, if something happens, like that's tough nuts. But I think he's killing people. No, let's make sure we leave a key that's somehow Megan. Like God, man.
No, absolutely.
Did Megan get charged with anything? Like, after this movie, that guy's still alive, right? She's alive.
Who's pressing charges?
The cop that got the gun pointed to him.
There's two cops in there. A sheriff. So he's going to lose his job because he's pressing charges against his daughter? This girl does whatever she wants. You could tell.
No, not against his own daughter. He's dead. Sheriff Garris is dead. Her dad died. I'm talking about the cop.
So does that automatically make him a sheriff?
Yeah. It's like the royalty. Oh, I'm in charge now, and then now he's in charge. I'm
the captain now. I'm the sheriff now.
Yeah,
I'm the captain now.
But so then now this is when the sheriff and Keith Hernandez and the other cops show up at the camp.
Yep.
And dude, the kill at the dock. I know it is silly for like how great. Yeah.
Well, before they get there, so when he sees the kids, he tells them all to hide under the bed. Did you see how they went under the bed? They all like dove in the air, like to hide. Like, it was the funniest thing. You have to watch it again. These kids are like literally diving.
Grab Raggedy Andy. The hamster got under the bed. So just in case Jason was going to come in and murder the hamster. Nope, not going to happen.
Oh. Wouldn't you be nervous that the hamster's going to make noise? Like, you're going to bring the hamster under the bed with you. Like, I wouldn't want the hamster next to me. I wouldn't want the kid that's crying next to me, and I don't want the hamster next to me.
Like, Jason's never killed a kid. The only kid he was like probably wanting to kill was
again,
Tommy
there's
Jarvis.
no kids in the movies. Yeah, but there's no kids in the movie.
No,
Tommy
I know,
Jarvis was the only kid.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So it was crazy that
how does Jason recognize Tommy? Like, he's, I'm the one you want, but how does he know who he is?
I know anybody could say that, right? And then she could say it, and somebody else, like one of those movies, and it's like, I'm Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah. And he's a zombie. Does he understand English? Like, he can understand like what they're saying at all?
Do zombies?
No, they don't.
In some zombie movies, they understand things, right? Wasn't the one movie the guys
they hear a noise.
In love with a girl?
But he was like a half zombie. Like, he was alive, but yeah. But I mean, in general, they just listen to noise. So, like, you know what? They probably sound like the Peanuts, like adults to zombies. Anytime you hear, man.
Oh man. But
yes,
so
the dock kill is very cool.
Oh, dude, just seeing him walk back and forth, and it's just like the way you see him reach for his little utility belt, and just like and the guy's looking at him. He hears him, and it's like, and right through the eye, and he falls. It looks so good, man.
But perfect aim, like perfect, like it's just ridiculous. It's so
flawless.
It really is. Like there is nothing he can't use to kill someone. Like he has skill in skill in art of weaponry, and he can use anything, and easily kill anyone with anything from any distance. Like, it's ridiculous.
He uses things that aren't even real, like in part 7 when he has that like weed whacker with saw blades on it. Like,
he's commando.
Yeah.
Didn't Arnold use a weed whacker in the shed? Like, he used
he threw the saw blades like frisbees.
Yeah, saw blades. But that's okay. So Jason would do the same thing. He was in that shed. Jason was commando in this movie. He's got the utility belt. He's got the knives on the side. Like, he's commando.
That'd be a movie. Arnold is like fighting zombies, and he has to recruit
I thought of that.
Jason.
Jason versus Commando.
Oh,
Let's do
Jason
it.
versus him. Ooh, that'd be good.
Or Jason versus Rambo. I mean, you could either one. I think that. Listen, Rambo, we're gonna break you out of prison again, but you got to go after Jason. You know that could have been a movie.
And he's at the point that he's just mumbling for 90 minutes.
You know what? Jason can't understand English anyway, so it doesn't matter.
It'd be like a movie of like what and just like head nods and.
Or
head
Jason will
turns.
understand that, or maybe that's what Jason understands.
That's his language, yeah. Just grunts. So again, like to mention that girl Nancy again, she's in like she's in 7 different scenes. So if you're a kid actor, I don't know what she did after this, but that's like a big deal in like a movie like this because
she's in
she
SAG.
runs out and she's definitely in SAG. But she sees Keith Hernandez, and then she's telling Keith Hernandez about the boogeyman, that he's out there, and then dude, Jason comes out of nowhere and just crushes his head in seconds.
Again, like you said, he comes out of nowhere. Like you have cops that Jason is literally like the best criminal ever because no one ever hears him coming. He gets around, he escapes every time. Like he's the best criminal that possibly can have.
Yeah.
Like if you they should make a Jason like sending him to this is the 80s. Send him to Russia. Let him go on a killing spree. You know, he could easily if they want. Listen, they sent Jason to space. Why can't they send him to like a war? Send him to Afghanistan or something. Like send him
well, that's what they wanted to do. That's what David Cronenberg wanted to do in the beginning of Jason X. I'm saying that's what his plan was. The military wanted to clone Jason in order to make so no people had to fight in the army. Could you imagine that?
Oh my gosh!
On CNN, breaking news: we just 100 Jasons out in Syria today.
Excuse me, they had 100 Tara Reeds. They can have 100 Jasons.
Well, they had more than that Tara Reeds, and multiple headed Tara Reeds, and floating headed Tara Reeds. Too many Tara Reeds. But so then from here is when the sheriff sees Jason, and this is where. I didn't write it down, but I remember the order of events. He goes to his car to call for backup. So he's in that car, and then this is right after he told the kids to hide. And then that's when he grabs a shotgun and he sees Jason. He shoots him, that whole part. But then later, when I think Megan makes a call from the car, so she opens the door, and since his head falls out, I'm like, Jason had no time.
Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the kids put it in. Maybe Nancy put it in there. Or the girl who had the machete.
Nancy, yeah. She found that. She's like, my counselor's dead, so I'm going to leave it with the cop. I found a head.
Listen, this girl is a future serial killer. I mean, to go through what she is. I bet you, as an actress, I mean, I didn't look up the IMDb, but I bet you she was in a bunch of other horror movies. Because like a lot of times, if you can handle a horror movie of Jason, they're going to use you in other movies.
Oh yeah, 100%. But just the fact that happened. But dude, again, I know Jason's unstoppable. The way people get so close, but at least the sheriff ran, and hid because he pumped him with the shotgun, and Jason fell, started moving again, pumped again, and just nothing worked. Even when he shot him in the head,
then he used the pistol
in the head, and he just tilted his head back. That's when the sheriff's like, screw this. I'm out. And he ran.
Wait, so he ran, leaving the kids behind?
Oh, he left them. Yeah, 100%.
Again, these cops are awful. They really are bad. They're ready to shoot someone, and literally they're there to protect these kids. And he's like, screw them. I'm leaving. And he left the kids there.
Yeah, no other ammo. He couldn't have. He has more shotgun shells in his car. He could have ran. He ran
literally.
in the direction
I think he shot twice and then ran out of bullets.
Yeah,
like you're going out there to find Jason, who's you don't. First of all, you don't bring more than just 2 bullets, but you don't bring more than a pistol besides a shotgun. Like you don't bring 2 shotguns. You don't have like an Uzi or something. You don't have something that a little bit more.
Yeah, like in all those movies, like Mel Gibson and Lethal Weapon, I feel like they always have in the back. They open the trunk and they always have other weapons.
Absolutely. So I mean, again, you're going after Jason, and he really wasn't prepared. So,
not at all. That little girl was only in Friday the 13th, Jason Lives, and then a movie in 1988 called Zelly and Me.
Okay.
And that movie had people I never heard of. So
And that's it.
Yeah,
Like she wrote. So
that's
she,
it.
Wow, that's
She
crazy.
rode off
though.
in
Like
the sunset.
That's interesting. Okay.
So I know so many times in these movies, usually like the teenagers, the 20 somethings, they run pretty fast away from Jason. But I feel like Garrus is kind of booking. But every time we saw Jason, he was really like speed walking.
Yeah, I was gonna
so
say
fast.
he walks fast. He walks faster in this movie than all the other ones.
Yeah.
Again, he was more human in this movie, even though he was more monster.
Yeah. He was walking with a purpose. I think that's
He was,
the
100%.
correct. And this is where we get the
100%.
one kid that says, "Oh, we're dead beat. We're dead meat." And then later, that's right after Megan gave a speech to the kids. And then when they hear Megan screaming, it's him again.
Yeah.
He's like, "We're real dead meat."
And that's when he goes, "What were you gonna be?"
Yeah.
When you go, that was so funny.
That's a great line.
But they were so calm. Those two boys were so calm. They look very familiar too. I bet you they were in a bunch of things because the one kid was familiar.
did. It was just funny. Yeah, just the delivery of what
it
were
was.
you going? That'd be a great
Yeah.
T-shirt. That's a really funny.
Yeah.
Funny line. But man, that whole the back breaking, because the only reason the cop came out of the shadows from hiding is because he heard Megan scream, "Dad, Dad," and then that's when Jason was like, "Oh, screw it, I want to kill her," because it seems like Jason wants to kill her but gets distracted because Tommy's like,
Yeah.
hey,
He got
you
distracted a few
maggot head."
times. He gets distracted a few times.
Yeah.
So,
But
and yeah, you know what? He must know English because when he called him maggot head, that's when he stopped what he was doing.
Yeah, no, that hurt him. That hurt him.
Yeah,
that really stung him.
Well, don't forget, he's got the mind of a kid. So now that means war. You're gonna call me names. You're gonna call me maggot head. That's it.
That's it. Now I'm gonna kill you in this ring of fire.
See, Jason
uses
doesn't use his words to fight. He uses his body. Where again, because he can't speak.
Sticks and
speak, then it would
stones
be a
will break
different
my bones, but Jason will machete
We'll break
you
your
in the head.
bones.
We'll break your bones. Yeah, but the fact that the sheriff, when he hears like Jason, when he hears Megan, and then Jason starts walking towards that sound, he like runs. And for a second, you're like, man, this guy's going to do something, even though the shotgun didn't work like a minute earlier.
Yep.
Like, kicking the shit out of him. He picks up the rock, smashes the head twice. And then Jason's almost like, okay, let me just make quick work of him. And dude, just the way it looks so good, man.
He folded him. But what's her name saw this. She saw this happen to her father. And then she just ran back. And again, it was like, that's it. Like the remorse when she sees her friends dead and her father really weren't that. She really didn't seem that upset.
She's psycho.
She was almost like relieved. Like, oh, now he's not going to have I don't have to worry about the cops anymore.
Yeah.
That's
No, but you're right. No, no remorse. But, man, this whole.
And Tommy tells her to go to the kids, to watch the kids while he's doing his. And she leaves the kids also.
She does.
They both, everybody left the kids every time.
Yeah, nobody cared about the kids because even when she was with the kids, then she went back into the water.
That's what I mean. Like the kids are almost like a hindrance. Like they were just like, you know what, they're in the way. We're trying to get something done here, and just get under the bed.
Yeah,
and
just lay under the bed. Getting under the bed? Watching it.
So you have a crazy murderer walking around. What is getting under the bed going to do? If anything. To me, that's more dangerous because then if you're trying to run away, you got to slide back under the bed and find the door. Like, wouldn't it be better to all right, sit on your bed so the minute you see him, run out of there? Under the bed means that it's going to be more difficult to get out of the cabin.
No, you're stuck. There's one way out.
Right, that's what I mean.
Door and maybe a few windows, but the windows are so high.
What is under the bed? It's not like a bomb shelter. Like all right, protect yourself. Like this is a murderer that literally, like, if he had any common sense, he's going to look under each bed.
Yeah.
And in every movie, they look under each bed. Like, we discussed this, I think, in one of the movies, where, like, does that really work when you hide under the bed? Because I forget what movie we watched.
Well, they either under the bed or in the bathroom stall.
Or behind the curtain.
So many of them. Yeah.
I know. But, yeah, so, again, to have all these kids, if there's all these kids under the bed, half of them are not going to make it.
Oh, yeah. And not every kid can fit under a bed. There's not like there's a million. So he would just be able to look and see something really quick. But the fact that he busts through the door, I love that he goes in through there, and then the way he flies through the window to grab Megan. And again, why wouldn't he kill Megan? He has her in his grip, And then you just hear Tommy say, "Hey, maggot head, I'm the one you want." And you're right. Like earlier, you said, wouldn't he be like, "Who are you?" Like,
not only that, even if he heard Tommy, he wants to go to Tommy. What old Jason would have done was basically snap her neck, throw her to the side, and then go after Tommy. Like not just like leave her there, barely alive, just choking her to death, and just put her down nicely, and then go over. So yeah. I mean, it makes no sense that he lets her live.
Yeah, the one that I wrote down because he said a bunch of them. Like the maggot head is what got Jason into the water. Jason was like slowly doing his walk through the water, but then Megan is screaming again, which makes zero sense. She knows like what Tommy's plan is, and she was almost killed by Jason, but she's yelling like, "Tommy, no!" And that's when Jason turns around and he goes, "Asshole!" And then Jason turns and like looks at him, and that's like when this whole it just made no sense. Why the ring of fire around him? I don't understand.
Okay, first of all, he only put gasoline on the sides.
Yeah,
he didn't put because he quickly put it on this side and he quickly put it on that side. Yet it became a huge fire around.
Perfect circle.
But does Jason swim? Because it was very deep. He walks in, but when he goes underwater, there's going to be a point where he's either going to walk on the ground all the way there, which is impossible. So you tell me Jason's doing like the breaststroke underwater? Like to get there?
We've talked about this in Jason Takes Manhattan when he somehow swims. Not only swims onto the boat and then he swims from the boat to New York City, and he died of drowning. So wouldn't that be his fear? But the end of Jason Takes Manhattan, his fear is water. So yeah,
it doesn't make sense. But I just can't imagine him swimming, like underwater breaststroke to get to the boat where Tommy is, and that was a pretty big rock. Tommy put on that boat. First of all, wouldn't it sink the boat?
Yes.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't think he can even lift it and put it on there, but yeah. So
Jason's very strong. I'm not saying that he wouldn't be able to pull up a smaller rock, but
correct. And let's be honest. I mean, if you put chains on a rock like that, I feel like it's just going to slide off.
Oh, like it's not going to, especially in the water.
It's not. There's no way it's going to stay perfectly tight like it was like a rope around something like a log. It's going to slide off. You can't make a rope like a chain like that tight on a rock. So yeah, it's just stupid.
And the way Jason like jumps up to almost be like, "Hey, put it on my neck," because he gets so close, he throws it on him and brings him down. And I love that. Again, does Jason not like to play with dead things? Because once Tommy like sort of faked. Not saying he faked that he was dead, because she did get him out of the water, but
that's what I thought he was doing.
And went limp. Jason let go.
Well, because he thought he was dead
anymore.
He did his job already. But I did the same thing. I thought he was faking his death. So that's what I thought. Like that would have been good.
I was like, oh, that's pretty good.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, Jason's strong enough to throw people across the woods, break through doors. He can't swim with that rock. It was a big rock, but I think Jason could have went. If he could swim, he would have went down, grabbed the chain right by the rock, and just walk it out.
Yeah, break his. And the fact that he's drowning, he's like, he's dead,
but he's not alive anyway.
That's what I mean. How is he drowning?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So stupid.
Well, unless he was faking it for us, because he started doing that gargling thing for a second, and then when Megan dove in the water, that's when he like sort of woke up when he grabbed her. And then she was able to use that boat propeller to make him just start shaking.
I can't imagine her having the strength to pull that cord to get the motor going.
Oh, while in the water, I couldn't.
While in the water, hanging halfway in there, being pulled under. Yet she's going to be able to pull it with enough strength to get the propeller going. I don't think so.
Yeah, no way. And then at this point, this is when I wrote down like, oh, I don't see Tina's house unless it's so dark that you can't see it. For part 7, like you're across the way. But here's the biggest question. It's so funny. It's the last question. It's kind of things that we talked about throughout, but just this really like nails it. So Jason's in the water. So if we go with Tina, like let's say there is a house across the way, and I don't know when Tina's family moved in, but let's say in 10, 15 years, somehow the body's still there. How's it still there? Wouldn't Tommy and all these kids that survive be like, oh, there's a guy that is murdering people and he's tied to a chain not that far out. It's not like this is like in the middle of an ocean. This is like 15 feet from a dock. Why
is
would
Tommy
they go
in the movie?
No,
he's not in any other movies.
No.
So
he's not in any of
Okay,
it.
so he's satisfied now that he's dead. Like he wasn't satisfied that he was dead, buried in a cemetery for 10 years, but now he's definitely dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
But why wouldn't the cops go in and check? Like in
Of
this whole
course.
thing, if you found all these bodies, there have to be like closing a case. Like a detective would be like, okay, I got to find out who actually did it. They're saying
Correct.
this is the guy Jason. Let's go check out where the body that they find. They must have
Or-
found it. What did they say? Leave it.
Or we've said it. I mean, I know we've talked about this before. So this is the 6th movie. So, and we don't count 5. So 5th movie, he's came alive multiple times. How about going there, chop his head off, and end it? Like they again, it's like leaving the key for the prisoner to escape. You're constantly giving him a chance to come back. Instead of doing it the right way.
I'd like Han Solo him. Like put him in concrete.
Well, I wasn't concrete.
Well,
Wasn't
I know,
it? Like, he was frozen.
but that's a futuristic movie. I'm talking about what I could do in 1986.
Well, you said Han Solo him. I thought you said the same thing. Okay, so put him in concrete.
Poor
So
man,
if
poor
you put him
man's
in
Han Solo.
Would you want his face in there so you could see his or you want him
Yeah,
in
I'd
a
like to
block
see
of
his
concrete,
face.
or you want to see? Okay,
No, you
so
see
make
his
him like a
face, but-
statue.
A statue, yeah,
Like
exactly. And what would be the silly intro? Like obviously he gets lightning bolted alive in sort of 7. He gets regenerated by Tina. She like wakes him up, and then at 8, it's lightning. What would it be if it was like a concrete statue? Like some drunk guy bumps into him, knocks it over, it
Knocks him over.
shatters, and he's just perfect.
It's like Zool, like
Yeah.
those gargoyles.
Yep.
It's-
Oh, he's perfect inside. It like kept him at ease. But
you know what? I'm surprised they haven't thought of that yet. Put him in cement. Like why is that not a thought at all?
well, they cryogenically froze him. That's the only other thing that they did like that.
Yeah, but when you're doing that, you're still keeping him alive.
yeah,
So shame on
I
them.
don't know. They should have put him in concrete. But yeah, so that was Jason Lives. Jamie, I know you talked about this movie went from one of your favorites to the middle of the pack. I don't know what else to. Are you going to be watching? Well, tomorrow's Friday the 13th. Are you going to be indulging in a Friday the 13th movie? And if so, which one would you recommend?
So okay, so first of all, you didn't ask me if I would recommend this movie.
Well, I know you. Would.
So yeah, I definitely would recommend it. It's part of the franchise. I like Friday the 13th so much better than Halloween. I've only seen 2 Halloweens. I think Michael Myers is lame. I think this movie is entertaining. It's not your typical Friday the 13th, and I think it loses points because of that. So, it's almost too silly at points, to be a horror movie. Like, I don't even know if you can consider this a horror movie. Like, there's a lot of funny parts to the movie. It just doesn't make sense. So yeah, it definitely moves into like the 4, 5, 6 ranking where it's not the top 3. It's like 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
But no, if I was going to watch one, I haven't seen 2 in a long time. I think that would be the one I would see. But I don't want to, just in case we do cover it. I want it to be fresh. Even though technically,
we have a
this
long
one,
time till Friday the 13th. I think there's one next year. I don't know when, but
well, you know what? If we get someone from the movie, it could come sooner. So
you
we'll
think
see.
you remember it? You sometimes don't remember which one we're watching.
No, not that I'm not going to remember it. Like I said, I did watch this one by accident. So
Yes.
I did remember the movie. But it's funny. I think I liked it less the second time I watched it.
Huh.
Because the first time was obviously fresh. So yeah, I'd rather keep 2 fresh.
Okay. I'll be watching on. There's a group on Twitter. They're called the Stranger Friends. Our buddy Pete does it. Pete, who was on our exes too, he dressed like a priest for that review when he came on and helped us out. I think it starts at 8:00. They're doing Jason Takes Manhattan at 8:00. You look at an Eastern Standard Time. Hashtag,
That's the one they pick.
What's my favorite one? I watched.
Oh
all
my gosh,
that's a good one. Fun.
I will be watching a horror movie this weekend that you're going to mention soon. So.
Yeah, so the next sequel we're going to be covering. So it's so funny, like, we cover Psycho 2 last week, and then I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe there's a Psycho 3. And what happens? One of our buddies, frequent reviewer, he's moving up the echelon of the most episodes reviewed, Nick Sperdone. He's he's in Philly at like a market, and he's like, oh, dude, you want some of his VHS tapes? He sends me a photo, and there's a cool old Deathfish one, and then randomly Psycho 3. So I'm like, Jamie, we got to do it. So we are.
I've never seen it. Looking forward to that one. You know, but I think, listen, you know what? For a franchise to have the first two movies be really good, I think the clock is striking that the third one, you can't have magic 3 times in a row. And so I think this one is gonna be a thumbs down for me without seeing it. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But I'm guessing this one's gonna tank. That's my guess.
I don't know. The only thing that
I don't know anything about
it. Hard is the top 2. That's the hardest position for Psycho 3 is because Psycho 2 is so good.
Well, the first 2 are so good. So, you know, there's no tell me a movie. I mean, even like, you know, say Star Wars. We love Star Wars, and Star Wars Empire Strikes Back was really good. Still like Return of the Jedi, but it's definitely the weakest one of the 3.
Oh yeah,
you know, because it got silly. So it's hard to have those 3 movies. Even look at Rocky. Rocky 1, 2, and then 3 got silly. You know, 3 was still good, but again, not compared.
Phenomenal.
4 is right, and they came back and they made that big change. So now I don't know if Psycho 4 is going to do that, because I have a feeling Psycho 4 is probably just as bad as Psycho 3.
Yeah, and it's more of a prequel. It's a story told by Anthony Perkins. So
right.
I'm excited for that. So so that's your homework. So if you watch Psycho 2 with us for the first time, we're watching Psycho 3 for the first time as well. So that'll be fun. So don't be a farthead. Don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.
Boom.
That's funny.